Welcome to Cofield Country Outdoors. Well, I've got 100 coons. I wasn't able to put traps out because it's kind of raining outside, so it's time to put up fur. Anyways, first thing you want to do is wash and dry your fur, and then before you start scraping it, work from the bottom to the top. See if you find any kookaburras. Alright, I think I feel one. So we want to make sure and to remove that kookaburra. I know I felt it somewhere. There it is, right there. So I'm going to sit there and I'm going to pull out that kookaburra, because when I start scraping it, that's going to roll on that hide and it's going to create a hole. So I got that kookaburra removed. Alright, I got my tail split. All the way down to the tip. So then I'm going to take my scraping beam, fleshing beam, and fleshing beam wants to be a hardwood like oak or hickory or something like that. Nice and smooth, make sure there's no nicks in it. If there is nicks in it, sand it out, because everywhere there's a nick, it'll roll your fur and you can get a hole in your fur. Alright, this is pretty smooth, clean. I've been putting up fur today, so there's a little fat on the bottom. But anyways, so let's get to scraping this fur. This fur is dry on the outside and it's been cleaned, so now I'm going to roll it inside out. And slip it on my board. Now I know a lot of people start on the heads on the coons and stuff, but I like to start in the trouble spots. I like to start in the armpits, because any time that I'm going to bust a hole in one, that's where I'm going to do a hole. So I'm going to start at the armpits. Alright, so got the armpit on this coon. Now this is my sharp edge, this is my dull edge. On a coon, most of the time you just use your dull edge. And I'm going to work around that armpit. That's probably the most tender part of the coon. Not much pressure at all. You can see I'm just rolling that fat off the armpit of that coon. Right, and I'm going to roll it around. I'm not putting hardly no pressure at all on this fur. I'm just pushing that fat off. In between the armpits right here, it's really tender. So just be very careful. All right. Roll it around again. Making sure my fur is tight to the board, because you don't want that hide to be rolling. Every time you roll that hide, it's going to pinch it and pop a hole in your fur, and we don't want that. You notice I'm not putting hardly no pressure at all on this. Alright, now we're going to go to the other armpit. And I like to keep my work close to me, that way I ain't overextending. So that's when you start making mistakes. The angle of your knife changes. And you roll a hole, you can pop a hole in that fur. Now I'm doing this slower than normal, just so y'all can kind of see. Keep rolling that arm around. If you're just starting to do this, remember it's not a race. It takes practice. And after a couple hundred coons, you'll have it down. Alright, so now I got my arms done. Now I'm going to go up to the head. Start at the eyes. Work my way down to the earbud. Making sure to keep that hide good and tight on my board. We'll roll it to the cheeks. Now the bottom lip, we're going to cut the bottom lip off. So we really don't have to pay much attention to the bottom lip. See, I'm not putting much pressure at all. I'm letting the knife do the work. Roll it to the other cheek. Alright, now we're going to get to the earbuds. Now mind you, I'm going to trim a lot of these earbuds off when we put it on the board, and I'll show you that here in a second. I'm just going to work meat and fat off. I'm not putting much pressure at all. Just nice steady pressure. Now you see, this is where it'll roll and you can pop a hole in your hide. That's why I like knocking out those armpits first and shoulders. I'm going to get in between the arms. This is a very tender part of the coon. Roll it, and I'm going to start working down the back now. You can be a little more aggressive going down the back. This is the thickest part of the hide, as long as you keep it tight to your board. Don't get overextended. Keep your work close to you. And you're just pushing that fat off. Now, if this was a female underneath, you would have the nipples to tend with. But since this is the male, we ain't got to worry about that. This is the next spot where we'll mess up, is where the penis came out of. But if you mess up there, that's no problem, because we're going to trim that off anyways. I said before, keep your work close to you. Don't get overextended. All right, we want to be careful when we're pushing it off the hide right here. We don't want to nick our board. So just kind of roll your knife up and push that hide, or push that fat and meat. Another quick little once over. Get around this tail. This hide's pretty stout around the tail and where the anus was, so you might have to put a little more pressure on it. Alright, so we've got a fleshed coon there. Now let's put it on the board. Alright, so we got our fleshed coon hide now, so now we're going to board it. I'm going to take my coon, I'm going to thread it over my board like so. I'm going to center up the ears and the eyes with the nose. Center up the tail between the, make a straight line between the eyes, the ears to the tail, like so. Alright. I'm not going to overly stretch this, but I'm going to give it a little tug. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to square that coon hide off the best I can. I know a lot of people that use push pins, but I prefer a staple gun. I'm going to put a couple staples in right there. I'm going to open that tail up, put a staple there, and a staple there. Alright, then I'm going to spin it around. I'm going to center up these arms. And then I'm going to trim an inspection hole. So I'm going to go right here where the penis hole was. I'm just going to trim all the way down to the flank. About an inch. Do the same on the other side. Trying to do it so the camera can see. Alright, and then I'm going to trim this little bit of meat up left. Staples. Staple down my legs. Alright, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to cut off this bottom lip. Trim that meat off. Alright, I'm going to roll it around and along these earbuds. We're going to trim this little bit off. A little bit of fat here. Fat there. Around these eyes, just kind of up here. Anyways, take our piece of PVC pipe, shove it all the way up like that, and then we'll hang it and put a fan on it. And Raccoon will be ready in about 5 to 7 days. It'll be dry and ready to take off the board. Anyways, I hope this helps somebody, and y'all have a good day.